All right there, people, welcome back to the Don Hub. You can call me the General, and in this video we're going to be talking about the HTML code we wrote in the previous video. So if you haven't watched that, you can go back and watch it. And then I just wrote this simple code, and if you want to still continue, you can stick with me. So before I continue, if you have not hit on the subscribe button, why don't you do that? Like the video, why don't you share and comment down below? You know how we announce ourselves, by typing "we feast," and then after you've done that, we'll continue. So what I want to do is explain certain things to you, and then we become conversant with HTML. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is okay, let's open our click here to open our file, actually our folder. So I want us to delete this file that we did. You can delete it by right clicking on it and then delete. Yes, we want to remove to the recycle bin. So yep, so let's create our first file, call it index.html. Now the reason why I'm calling it index.html is anytime you want a file, okay, to be your roots file. Okay, what I mean by that is the very first file that the server will serve to the browser anytime someone visits your site is the one that is called index. So it's actually a standard name that we use. So let's name it index.html, and then we open it down. So I want to start from scratch. Okay, so we type in first doctype HTML. Now what I'm doing here is I'm informing the browser what type of document that is coming. So in this case, an HTML document. That is why I say doctype, doc for document, doctype HTML. And I use this exclamation mark because in HTML, if you want to give certain unique commands, we use the exclamation. And then you see another one with a comment. I'll show you that one later. So what we do is we first announce that we want what we are given is an HTML document, and then the next thing we do is we type in HTML. Okay, and you see why I'm using VS Code. It actually helps me type faster. So as you realize, I didn't type this part, but it did that automatically for me, and then it formatted it nicely, and then it puts my cursor right where I want it to be. So the next thing I want to do is, so what I've done is I've actually defined that well, let's see, this HTML element represents the root of an HTML document. Fine. So that's what I'm actually doing. I'm saying that whatever I want to do inside here is then going to be an HTML. So the next thing I want to do is give a head. So this will be the head of our document. So inside the head is more like the settings of the web page. So you are saying everything you want to define certain settings in your head. That is why we create a head tag. So settings like our title, right? Our title, and let's give this one a different title. Let's say learning HTML. Okay, this is our new title. So this title tag we can define a lot of things. We can link our CSS here. We can define metadata and all. I'll talk about that one later. So first of all, for now we have the title in our head. The next thing I want to do is out of the title, I want to give a body. And now in our body is what is going to be shown on the web page. This is this part of the browser is our body. That's where the code we write for the body is going to be displayed. So when we come here and then we type in let's use h1. All right, let's not use anything. Let's just type in hello world. Okay, and then you save it. Right, so I want to open this with a new extension that I want us to install. So head on to extensions and type in live server. This extension in particular, live server, it has over 3,114 million downloads. So that's what I want us to install. So when you come here, you can just click on install, and it's going to install it on your browser. The reason why, oh sorry, this is rather the downloads, 23,875,513. You can now tell that a lot of people use it. So you can install live server. Live server is actually it gives us a local development server where we can load our documents on, and there's not going to be any necessity for us to be refreshing the page over and over again. If you can realize, in our previous one, anytime we run our HTML code, we refresh the page, right? But with live server, it's gonna do that for us. So after if you install live server, you come back, you right click on your HTML page. It must be an HTML page, because that is what we render to your browser. It can't be a CSS, it should be an HTML. After you right click, you can see here open with live server, and then we open with live server. Yeah, so now our code is open in live server, and this is the local host I was talking about. So our local host is 127.0.0.01, and it's running on port 5500. Okay, so now we've opened our HTML in live server mode. So anything I do, let's say I'll say hello world, this is the general, this is the general, and I save it. I've just saved it. When I just open the browser, you can see it automatically saved it on our web page for us. This is the general. Isn't that cool? Right. As time goes on, I'll introduce you to more extensions that will help us code easier and faster. So getting this out of the way, now what I want to talk about first is heading tags. That is the H1 and H2, H3 that I used to use. Now, what are heading tags? They are actually tags that define the kind of text you want to show on the web page. So we have H1 all the way. We have H1 all the way to H6. Now, the higher the number, the smaller the size of the text. So let me type something in our H1 code. So let me type in hello world here, and then let me copy it and paste it here and save. So now when we open in our browser, you can see this is the one that was written in H1, and this one was written in H6. So as I told you before, it's the higher the number, the lesser the size of the text. So actually it runs from H1 through to H6. So we've done H1. Let me copy here and paste again, paste again, paste again. So we say this one should be H2. Make sure anytime you say H2, you have to close it. So VS Code makes it simple for us. It gives us the line, shows us the opening and closing tag. So H2, so we have to close H2. So this is H1. It actually highlights it for us. So this is the opening, this is the closing. So we want to make it H3. We want to make this one also H3. We click on this, it highlights it for us. We want to make this one H4. We want to make it H4. We want to make here also H4. And we want to make this one H5. Want to make this part H5, and then we save. Let's see what happens. Now, as you can see, it decreases. The size decreases as the number increases. So this is our H1, this is our H2, this is our H3, H4, H5, H6. So these are heading tags, right? So you can use them for your headers. You can use them for any text that you want to show boldly on your screen, right? So then the other tags I want to show you, for now let's leave the H6, let's leave the H1 on the screen, let's leave that one, and let's talk about P tags. If you were here the previous video, we saw the P tags, and I said it stands for paragraph. How do you even spell paragraph? Right, this is how to spell paragraph. So it stands for paragraph, and when I save it, it will show normally like a normal text, but it's actually being defined as a paragraph, right? So over here we can write paragraphs. So let me write in a dummy text. So when you type in lorem, like I did, you type in lorem in VS Code, this is an emit abbreviation. So you see, this is why I like to use VS Code and some other text editors of this kind, because I wouldn't have to type in dummy languages like I would just typing in something like this. No, anytime I just type in lorem, it gives me dummy language, and I don't have to type it all out. So when I save this, you should see this on my browser. Wow, so this is a paragraph. It has typed in a paragraph for me, as you can see here. That is a paragraph. And then I'm going to let me show you some editing. Let's go to settings down here. Let's open the settings, and right in our settings we can see, let's type in wrap. Right, so word wrap, we should actually turn it on. Okay, and then once we are done with that, we'll move on here, and then let's type in the lorem back, and then I want to show you why I went to do that. Lorem, you see, it has wrapped our text for us. So first, what it was doing, that it was scrolling to the end of the page, and we had to scroll to see the rest of the text, but it actually wrap everything, text wrap, so that we can see what's actually is inside the p tag. So if you don't like this editing, this is okay. You can still go here and then turn it off, but I want to keep it on so that I can see everything on the screen. So let's save this, and it's still gonna give us our paragraph. So the next tag that I want to show you is, why don't we talk about a new tag called strong, right? So strong is used when you want to give emphasis, when you want the text you pass in there to be bold, to be strong. Now let me type in the text, and then you see I like the name the general, and save it, and let's see what happens. It does in a bold form. It shows us in a bold format. Okay, all right, so the next tag that I want to show us is strong. So this is a tag in HTML, and it does nothing. That what does it do? The strong element represents strong importance, seriousness, or urgency for its content. So whatever we type here is gonna, so let me type in the general, right? So let me save it. As you can see, it kind of gave it a little bold format, and then it made it kind of stand out from this normal text you can see here. So that is the strong. And another one similar to the strong is the B tag. This one is also bold, right? It does the same thing, but let's see the difference. Let's also type in the general and see the difference. Okay, so in order to do that, this brings me, you see, when I put in the two of them, you can see that they stood to each other, like they were in line. Okay, but I want to cause a break so that this one comes below the first one. So what I'll do is I'll come here and introduce you to a new tag called BR, and this is a tag that doesn't have a closing tag. Okay, so you can just type in BR. For older HTML codes, we normally end it with this, right? But for now, since things have been modernized, in our case we can just get rid of this and save it, and it should work just fine. So what we're expecting to see is the general on one line and the general with the bold tag on another line. So let's save it and then see. Right, as you can see, the bold the break line worked. So you can see the general on one line, another one. So this is from the strong, and this is from the bold. Okay, so we can see the difference now. Another tag I want to show you is small. If you've seen bold, why shouldn't we see small? So we say small. Who do we want to see small? Who is small? So let's type in Jamils. Actually, he's actually big in real life, but let's put him in a small tag and let's see how he looks like. There you see him, small. Let's bring in the BR tag, and you know what the BR does? It breaks the code so that you can see it in the next line. That is Jamils, very small, very small. We move on. I want to show you another text called emphasis. It's EM, right? It stands for emphasis. So we want to pour some kind of emphasis on a certain text. So what we type is EM, and then we give it let me type in we feast. We type in with feast. If you haven't typed in with feast in the comment section, why don't you do that now? Type in with feast in the comment section, and then you add a fist bump. Let me see if I can find mine. Hey, where is mine? I can't find my fist bump. Good. Find my fist bump, and I'll give it an explosion emoji. An explosion emoji. There we go. So if you haven't typed yours, why don't you type in with feast? Type in with feast in the comment section. And then now let's open it in our browser. And as you can see, this is the emphasis. Let me use the BR tag again. BR. You save it. Bar with feast. Now all you can see from the emphasis tag is that it has given it some kind of slanted format, right, to show some kind of emphasis, right? Another thing I want to show you is that is similar to the emphasis is, why don't we use the BR tag here, is what I call it I. Actually, that's the name. I do not call it I. I, and then we type in hada. Let's type in hada there, and then save it. Now let's look at the difference. The emphasis and then the I, they are actually the same. They are similar. Just that this tells HTML that you want to give emphasis on the code, and this one you want to just tell that I want my code to be italics. Okay, so that is the difference with the emphasis and then italics. The other tag I want to show you is the sub and then super tags. So let's do sub tag. So with the sub tag, what do I want to type? First of all, let's type let me type 2, and then inside the sub I'll type n, and then I continue the text here to none. So actually let's use the BL here, break tag, so that it comes to the next line, and let's see what we have. Second to none. So you see the sub sent the nd to the top, like how you expected, right? It's inside the sub tag, and then we have second to none. Exactly. So the next one I want to show you is what you guessed it, the sub tag. So we'll have here sub, and inside the sub, before it first, let me type in H. Those who did science back in high school, you should know what H2O is, right? So let's save this actually, and then give this a try. We see H2O. So that the sub tag is already working. It brings our text below the baseline, and then we have H2O, we have second to none. So as you can see, we are giving certain commands. The tags is helping us write our code very simply. If we were to do this normally, if we were to type H2O, what would we have seen? Wouldn't have been possible. H2O wouldn't have looked good. But as you can see here, we've been able to give this a command that we want the tools to be sub, and then we want this nd to be on the top, right? So that is enough for today. The other tags I would like to show you, but that will come later in the other videos. So that's enough for today. If you like today's video, why don't you like, and if you've not subscribed yet, why don't you hit on the subscribe button, share the video to your friends who be interested in web development, and also type in with feast in the comment section, and I'll see you next.